and we're here with the episode that I didn't know exactly how to make. First of all, as you can tell by the title, this episode got fucked by Twitch, as it came at a time when Twitch started making all of its changes, you know, the whole 70-30 split going down to 50-50, and then the thing with the super chats where you can super chat and you can have your super chat up for 2 whole minutes if you're willing to give Twitch $100, and all of the other drama that came out of Twitch. It was a disaster, it was a mess, and needless to say, this episode got lost in the juju. Luckily it was only a short episode, and all we did was we stepped out of our little base camp where we moved a little bit left into the desert, which triggered the Colony 4 cutscene with Silvercoat Ethel, where she sees us as the Heartless, and then we have to run away a bit before coming back round and fighting Ethel and then the Council. But it's in this episode though, and this is why I've just left it as the cutscenes that I just got off of YouTube, because it's only a few cutscenes, but it's something that I really have to explain, and it's why a new feature will get added for the remaining episodes, where you're going to see me get very mad. As it starts off fine, you know, you see Ethel, and Ethel's like, "You are a weird, heartless monster man, be gone with you." And then you run away, and you have a little thing about they can't follow you because there's black fog, and it turns out that this black fog messes with the signal that the demons are sending into people's eyes, and that's why Ethel gets her little headache. But then we fight the demon, and then, you know, the fight in hard mode, and all the demons are the same. All of the demons in hard mode are very, very tanky. Even if you're way over leveled, they can still take up to a good 15 minutes, sometimes even 20 minutes to take down, despite just being a story boss. It's ridiculous, so all of the demon fights are gonna get severely cut. But anyway, we fight the demon, and then I get shocked, even though you won't see that Uni actually makes a real swear and doesn't just say spark. Sorry, extra interjection, my bad. First of all, it was the demon that said shit, not Uni. Uni says shit later down the line. But that's inconsequential, because while I'm editing all this together, I completely, forgot, and you can hear it in my voice, because I can't watch it without just being like, oh my fucking god. Because right after we find out about the sword that can cut anything, what does Noah do? This guy nearly killed Ethel. And, Ethel's on the ground dead. And we kill him. And what does fucking Steven do? Plays his little Offseer song. Oh no. The demon. The man that's trying to murder us. The man that treats everybody like toys and will throw away countless lives. I feel bad for his soul. Let me redeem his soul. What the... And Even Lands. Look. Even Lands is like, what the fuck are you doing? This is a demon. This is a man that has no remorse for human life. What the fuck are you doing? But I feel bad for his soul. My name is Steven Universe, and I must redeem everybody. Even the fucking irredeemable demon. Literal demon. Literal demon from hell. Literal demon from hell. Like evil bad. I sign on the dotted line and I will take your soul, please. And fucking redeemed. And this is why I can't stand Noah. I can't stand this stupid fucking the words that Susan would not let me say. Words that Vappy won't let me say. They've literally been cut out. This is why he is literally the worst fucking character. The absolute worst fucking character. He's had the sword all along that we're about to get into. He's had the sword all along. And then he just has this fucking air of Steven Universe. He's literally the embodiment of Steven. Good, bad, doesn't matter. Even if it's a demon that literally murders his friends, I must redeem them. I feel bad for their soul. Let me play my song on my little fucking flute because I'm fucking... But just cut it, Vappy. Just cut it. Just go back to past Spyro. Spyro is getting mad at Noah because he redeems demons, and even the people around him, like Lance, are like, "What the fuck are you doing, mate?" The lady just said shit. Oh, sorry, he just said shit. But I know that Uni says shit at one point. But regardless, that's a swear, sir. That's a swear. I thought this was a teenage game. Then we got to go all the way. You got to say fuck. But I will say fuck a lot. Because after the demon dies, we still have the issue with the flame clock, and we find out about Lucky 7, the sword that Noah has been carrying around. We see a flashback where Riku is having the sword on display and talking to Noah about taking the sword. And at first in the cutscene it's a little bit weird because you think that Noah turns down Lucky 7 because that sword looks completely different from the Monado looking sword that we already have, yet it's a sheath. The red stuff is armor. It is a sheath on top of the sword known as Lucky 7, and this becomes a major issue in the entire game because this means that he has this sword and can willingly use this sword at any time, and he doesn't. This sword has two major functions. One, this sword can cut quite literally anything. The clock is going to get cut by this sword. These clocks are said to be completely indestructible. Even the demon that made these clocks, known as Mobius Y, he's the guy that made them, and later on he will say, I'm the guy that made them, and even I can't break this shit. And another Mobius that we will just call T for a moment. T is one of the very few good Mobius. He's not like an asshole like Master Chief over here. But even T, as a regular guy, says, no, I'm a demon and I can't break it. These things, they just can't be broken. You can't do it. It can't be done. I'm a demon and I can't break this clock. And then the guy that made it is like, I made this shit and I made it to be indestructible. Even me as the creator, I can't break it. So this sword can cut quite literally anything, including the unbreakable clock. And as we will see in not only this cutscene, but every cutscene onwards, it can cut every clock in a single shot. One single swing of this sword can cut this clock. And the other thing that this sword can do, it can also one-shot demons. The sword, as we can go back to the previous scene, already kind of hinted at this when we were fighting Rez. It's basically the Master Sword. It feels the presence of evil and it seeks to destroy evil, and it can one-shot the demons. And we even see later on this sword one-shotting a demon, and I'm going to have to play it. There it is. There is the sword one-shotting the demon. So, given what we know, given the fact that this sword can one-shot the demons and one-shot the clocks, and he has this and he can activate this at any time, any fucking time. This now puts all of the blame on Noah, and this is where I now have to add the counter of people that will die due to Noah's neglect, as people will die due to Noah's neglect. Because now that these two things are established, and now he's literally said he just doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to hurt people, that's a bad sign. Because like with the Monado has three forms, 1, 2, and 3, and we can't access the third one till post-game, because they don't want you to have that power straight away, because if you had that power straight away, then all the problems in the world would be solved. The same for Xenoblade 2. You know, we start off with Pyra, who is the weakest version of the Aegis, and she is limited by what she can do. Then we get about mid-game, and something happens, and it's like, I'm not strong enough, I have to go into Mithra, and she turns into Mithra that is stronger, and what they consider the true form of the Aegis up until the end game, where in the final fight and the final cutscene, we find out that is not true, and the ultimate version of the sword, which can one-shot everything, like Lucky 7 here, is in fact Numa. And we do not get access to Numa's power and the Numa armor for Rex until the post-game. It's quite literally restricted to the post-game because you can't just have Numa. If you started the game and you woke up Numa straight away and it's like she can do all that shit, there would be no conflict. But Noah has Monado 3. Noah has Numa. Noah has the ultimate weapon from the get-go, and he just doesn't want to use it because he feels bad. He feels like he'll hurt people. And it gets to a point where there's several characters. You know, I'm even going to count some grunts, but there's several scenes though, big major scenes, where there are characters affected by demons or the clock, and all of these situations can be resolved with Noah, who has this sword and know he has this sword. There is a situation where people are in danger and they are going to die, and the two demons that are orchestrating this entire thing have said that these clocks are the reason, because there are different versions of the clocks. You know, you've seen some with the blue flame, some with the yellow flame. So it's like the demons are standing right there and they have got another version of the clock. And Noah has this sword and he's standing there watching. And once you know what this sword does, he could have one-shot the demons, thus ending the operation. The demons would be dead. If they're dead, the clock cannot activate. The clock is no more, because the demons are using a special clock in this scenario. So if you just use Lucky 7 on these demons, that ends the scenario. These people will be saved. And he just stands there. Or, because you can one-shot the clocks, you could cut the clocks. If the clocks are fucking things up, and you can one-shot the clocks, which isn't a person, you're not going to hurt anybody, it's an inanimate object, just cut the clocks. The clocks are the reason why this thing is happening, and you can just cut the clocks. And that's it. The demon's plan has been foiled. But he doesn't. He just stands there. He just stands there like a stupid dent. He stands there like a stupid dent and watches this scenario unfold, killing neither the demon nor the clock, and thus resulting in people dying. And then there is another situation later on. Once again, the sword is called into question, and even the guy that originally owned it, Riku, as we find out in the cutscene where Riku owned it, just looks at him and is like, "Bro! Why are you not using Lucky 7? What is your problem?" And Noah just stands there. He just stands there and looks at him like, and there's so many cutscenes like that. There's so many cutscenes where Lucky 7 would have resolved this issue. And it's not like, again, it's not like Monado 3, it's not like Numa, it's not like it's restricted. There's no restrictions. Here he is at the very beginning of the game with our very first real boss, not including Rez, because Rez was just the tutorial boss. Here he is in the very first real boss of the game, the very first real scenario of the game, just pulling out the sword as if it's nothing and cutting the clock, thus freeing Ethel. And like there's no limitations, there's no restrictions, there's no cooldowns. He just uses it whenever it's convenient for him. And like it breaks the whole story. It really breaks the whole story, because like with no restrictions, with no counterbalances, and knowing that he can just do it whenever he feels, when people die, it's not like, oh, there was nothing I could have done. No, Noah. No, you could have done. You could have drawn that sword and you could have cut the clocks. You could have cut the demons. You could have done all of the other things that the sword does, which I don't want to spoil. But there's so many things. There's so many things you could have done. And yet you refuse. Their blood is on your hands. When these characters die, even random grunts, nameless grunts, that are being taken by like the soul-sucking flame clock. You know, all of these people are about to die. You're about to see like a good 20, 30, 40 people get sucked by the clock. These are innocent people. They're just fighting because they do not know of the grander picture. And you have this sword and you can cut this clock, and you don't, and you just stand there and you watch the random grunts just get sucked and die, and that's another 40 people on Noah's hands, and I fucking hate Noah. because like he has this power to save people, and he always goes on in some of these cutscenes about how he's an overseer and how he has to see off the dead and how he doesn't want people to die because it's not right. Yet when he's put in a position where he can save people from dying because he's got this fucking sword, he just doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there and watches it happen. And I don't like him. I really... and this is another, too many cooks in the kitchen. We already described at the end of last episode how, that there's this heartless thing where Ethel sees us as heartless, and it's never ever brought up again, ever. It just goes. Like, once Ethel sees us as heartless, and, Rez said the whole world will be our enemy, so everybody should see us like this, they don't. Every other commander is just like, yeah, you're normal, you're fine. It's like, no, do I not look like a heartless? No. That plotline gets dropped. And I feel the same can be said of Lucky 7, where there are points where Lucky 7 is key to the story, and it seems like this was written before another section of the story. So you set up Lucky 7 as Monado 3, you've set up Lucky 7 as Numa, and it's supposed to be this big, end piece. It's this final end piece where, like, the power of friendship or like the power of the Aegis is finally coming to light, and now here at the very end you have the ability to have this end game sword. But then that plot line just goes nowhere, and they just say, oh, you can use it whenever. But because like the ending and the beginning were written, like Noah turning down the sword initially when it's just in Riku's shop, and then the ending, all the bit in the middle just seems to be written by a different person that didn't see the ending or the beginning. It's just like, yeah, you can just use it whenever, and it breaks the story. It really does. It really does. As I say, not much happened in this episode. It was just the episode with Ethel. But I need to get this off my chest, and we need to add the people that have died by Noah's hand. People that have died due to Noah's neglect, because he has this sword that can do these things, and there's no limitations and no restrictions on it, and like it would have solved so many issues and saved so many lives, but he just refuses to use it, to the point where even Riku in one cutscene is looking at him like, bro, why are you not using this fucking sword? And it just makes Noah unlikable, on top of all the other things he does. Because like there are things that he does and says which just contradict him as a character, and that's why like my opinion of Noah will go down, but my opinion of Lance will raise across the course of this. But anyway, we'll be back to normal next episode. But I just needed to take this episode out with the fact that it was lost to Twitch when it was doing all of its stupid shit. But I just needed to take this episode out to explain this sword and explain why there is now a counter of people that will die because of Noah's just negligence. Because like, he has this sword, and it could save so many people, and it could like end so many conflicts, and he just doesn't use it. He just stands there and says like, either he's a dent and he just stands there like completely, idiot look, like doesn't know what to do, or he'll just say like, I don't want to do it because I don't want to hurt people. Would you rather hurt somebody, or would you rather let 40 people die, Noah? Which one? Because 40 dead people seems a lot worse than hurting someone's fifis. But he doesn't, and I can't with him. I cannot with this man. But yeah, that's really all that happens. We beat the demon, we cut the clock. Again, it was just one. It was a short stream. We beat the demon, we cut the clock, we save Ethel, we find out about Lucky 7 that makes me infuriated, and by saving Ethel and her colony, we get to go back to the first area, and a bit of that opens up so we can go to another colony of Agnes, which is under the control of Teach, and Teach is such a cool dude, but you'll see him next episode. But anyway, that's all I had to say, and we'll be back next time, where we'll see Teach and we'll have the people that dies because of Noah's neglect counter, because he has access to Lucky 7. But thank you for watching, and I'll play the outro and I'll see you in a bit. Fuck Noah. And thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do please feel free to leave a like, and if you don't want to miss out on more, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so the notifications go through. And of course, if you would like, there are links down below so you can come to the Twitch and interact with us while we are recording these live, a Twitter so you know when I am going to be streaming and going live, a Discord if you want to just come chat with me while I am doing the editing, and of course the Patreon if you'd like to support me further, like the Patreons of this month that are Deddy, Dark Blue Fire and Flick the Changeling. Thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, and I will see all of you in the next video or stream.